This conference will now be recorded.
Hey everybody, it's Wednesday at 2:30, so it is time for our Monday through Thursday 2:30 podcast. This is the podcast where you will hear the science about what actually happened in this opioid crisis, and all that science is getting put into the book. Uh, I'm really liking the way the book is turning out. It's a narrative that is just a coffin nail for the pharmaceutical companies and the psychiatrists. When you really lay out in order the amount of science that they ignored, they chose to ignore. That was a decision on their part. They chose to ignore it. If you're a pharmaceutical company that manufactures or handles the opioids in any way, and you're not familiar with this science, you should not be handling opioids. Likewise, if you're a physician, if you're a provider, and you're working with people with an opioid problem, an opioid issue, and you're not aware of this science, you just flat out should not be working with the people because you don't have the knowledge. So it's going to be extremely hard for them to say, "Oh, we didn't know." Well, if you didn't know, then you shouldn't be doing what you were doing. And if they did know, then there's absolutely no excuse. And what we're talking about here, we've been talking about for the past couple of days. We're going to continue to talk about today, is how the position of the pharmaceutical companies and the psychiatrists just melts away. It just dissolves under even the lightest of scrutiny, and that's the refers back to the what's on your screen in front of you. This is what's called the COWS, Clinical Opiate Withdrawal Scale. This is used to gauge the severity of withdrawal of a person. And if you look at it closely, okay, it's obvious that this is nothing more than a list of symptoms of people who are experiencing a dysfunction in their nervous system, because what you see is you see symptoms listed from the rest and digest system and symptoms listed from the fight or flight system. And by the way, okay, millions and hundreds of millions of years of evolution, Mother Nature made sure that both of these systems won't run active at the same time. Okay, but the opioids cause a genetic damage, and the area of where the genetic damage occurs is in the OPRM1 gene, the gene that makes the opioid receptor, and evidently that receptor is what was maintaining the balance. It's like a circuit breaker, and you go in, you mess around with your circuit breakers. Well, your electricity's not going to work well. Okay, you go in and mess around with your nerve receptors. Well, your nerves aren't going to work well. Same thing. It's just wiring, just basic wiring. Okay, you don't want to mess around with receptors, and you don't want to mess around with stuff in your DNA that's 450 million years old, because when you do, and then you get a dysfunction in your nervous system, you will have symptoms like the ones you see on the screen in front of you. And the whole point of this is you're talking about decades that the mental health people have been using this form, the one on the screen in front of you. How do I know? Because I've been around for decades. They've been using this form for decades. And they never recognized what it was. It's a list of symptoms from a dysfunction in the nervous system. Look at the symptoms. Okay. From the rest and digest side, you get watery eyes, runny nose, and yawning. Okay. Along with the abdominal cramping, the loss of control of the bowels. And then from the fight or flight side, you get the dilated pupils, the hair standing on end, the pouring sweat, the heart pounding, the anxiety, the restlessness. Okay. By the way, the hair standing on end. Okay. If you want to know what that is, okay, if you have a cat, okay, or a friend that has a cat, uh, simply scare the cat. Okay, and watch the cat's hair stand on end. Okay, if you have a dog, okay, and the dog starts barking at somebody and acting like they're going to attack them, look at the hair stand up on their back. Okay, these are old ancient uh, uh, components of the nervous system that they're left over in us as humans. Well, of course, we've advanced so far beyond the animals, right? Okay, but our hair stands on end too. Okay, it may not serve the same purpose as it doesn't serve any purpose anymore, but it served a purpose in dogs and cats in that it makes the animal appear larger. Okay, and that's why their hair stands on end. They're trying to appear larger, more formidable, scare off the opponent. But that's part of the fight or flight uh, system. Okay, you see it in dogs and cats. You see it in humans. Okay, and you have hundreds of millions of years of Mother Nature, of evolution, of God, to make sure that these two components, these two branches of the autonomic nervous system, the part of the nervous system that oversees your organs and internal bodily functions, that the two systems are separate and that they never run simultaneously. Okay, you don't want to fall asleep while you're running from the bear. Okay, when you're running from the bear, you don't want to fall asleep. You want to turn off the sleep system. You want to turn off the digestive system. Okay, and you want to get out of there. You want to run. That's what the system does. Okay, and that's what adrenaline does. Okay, these are systems that are fundamental to life. Okay, and that's what you're looking at on the screen here. So if it wasn't such a catastrophe, if it wasn't such a calamity, it would be humorous that the psychiatrists, that the mental health experts, that the addiction experts, that they created this list and didn't even realize what it was. And this is why I say that when you begin just the lightest of scrutiny on these people, okay, it begins to fall apart. In order for them to push out their misinformation, okay, the person receiving the information has to just abandon common sense, has to just abandon medical knowledge, has to just abandon scientific knowledge. Okay, for me to look at that list of symptoms and believe that that list of symptoms could come from a mental health condition, that a mental health condition could drive the body into the impossible, that a mental health condition could drive the body into the impossible, that the individual could have dilated pupils, pounding heart, pouring sweat, and be yawning at the same time. Okay, you want me to accept that? You want me to believe that? No. Okay, I went to medical school. Okay, I practiced as a physician for decades. Okay, I know that's an impossible constellation of symptoms. I know that's an impossible set of symptoms to occur together. It cannot happen. It cannot happen without genetic damage. Okay, think about yourself. Did you ever in your life have an episode of pouring sweat and pounding heart and yawning? No, you didn't. You never had that before. And the reason you didn't have that before is because it's impossible. It cannot occur without genetic damage. It cannot occur without genetic damage. So that was a point that I wanted to make with this document and the point is how quickly their house of cards collapses. And we're not even getting into the science yet. And that's the point I make in the book. Okay, their house of cards begins to collapse long before we get into the science. And once we get into the science, they don't stand a chance. They're not going to be able to mount a defense in court. Okay, right before the show started today, Alex brought to my attention someone who signed up to be in the first wave of mass tort lawsuits. Okay, there's no way the pharmaceutical companies can mount a defense. Their actions are indefensible. Okay, and we'll be going over that on this podcast. Oh, you better believe we will. But it's all in the book too. If you want to understand the futility of the pharmaceutical industry trying to mount a defense for what they did to you, if you want to understand the futility of their defense, order the book. Order the book. All right, we'll hold here today. Man, I've been going over. I guess I'm gonna quit telling people that we're 6 to 7 minutes because we've been 9 to 11 minutes consistently. But this is important stuff. Okay. And we're moving into the phase where people are signing up to be in the first wave of mass tort lawsuits. Okay, but we'll hold here for today. Enjoy your afternoon. Enjoy your evening. Please come back and see us again tomorrow. We'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow's Thursday. Don't forget to like and subscribe us. Don't forget to post this podcast on your social media and everybody else's social media. Alex is very busy getting out the emails and the text messages. Alex is determined. He's committed. He understands. He understands what this battle is about. I commend him for it. His commitment is obvious, it's wide, and it's deep. And he wants to see revenge on these companies also, as do I. You can call it justice or you can call it revenge. Personally, I'm pretty darn happy with the concept of revenge. Everybody have a great evening. We'll see you tomorrow.